Grace Period. Brought to you by Toyota. The year-end countdown is on now, making it the perfect time to get into a new Toyota.
Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, where the Vancouver Canucks look to make it 2 straight wins to close out their 4-game road trip. Let's check out our starting goalies tonight, brought to you by Tim Hortons, official coffee of the NHL. Roberto Luongo, since joining the Vancouver Canucks, has a record of 15-7-2 in his first start after a game in which he's been pulled, and that's what happened in the game against the Rangers a couple ago. Meanwhile, 22-year-old Marek Mazanec has been a pretty good story for the Predators this season with a record of 5-4-1 in the absence of Pekka Rinne. Canucks may be feeling fortunate they're not down 2 forwards from the game in Carolina. Jannik Hansen is able to play, came back despite that nasty-looking collision into the boards. Meanwhile, Victor Bartley plays against the team he grew up watching. He plays Vancouver for the 3rd time, the native of Maple Ridge. Had an assist against the Canucks in one of the 2 games he played head-to-head last year. Alex Edler on the ice to start the game, flips the puck to center. Chris Higgins deflects it into the Nashville zone. Mazanec up to play it, shoots it around the near side, and gets the puck out to center. Ryan Kessler centering, Higgins and Hansen. Had the puck at center, tried to get it in deep, it deflected the other way, and now Luongo's out for his first touch. Edler didn't read that very well. He and Luongo got their signals crossed. Here's Nystrom centering, and Hornqvist just put one wide. Patrick Hornquist on the backhand tries to come out front. Now a centering pass blocked by Edler. Mike Fisher gets the puck. Behind for Hornquist. Working on Garrison. Back to the blue line. Yossi with a wrist shot. Didn't get through. Rebound over the stick of Fisher. And brought out by Higgins, who had his stick chopped out of his hands. And play goes on. Could have been a slashing call. Wilson's in with a wrist shot. Right pad save Luongo, and Garrison clears to the side. Daniel Sedin gets the puck and lifts it out. So Sanzarelli on this line with Henrik and Daniel Sedin, at least to start the hockey game. Here's a giveaway right up the middle. Daniel to the net. Stopped by Mazanec. And no rebound there from Mike Santarelli, who was right in front of the goal.
Henrik Sedin is asking about the slash. Miscommunication here. You have to holler at the goalie. You want him to play it? Alex Edler not speaking up, so the puck's there and a good scoring chance. Just fired wide by Patrick Hornqvist. Mike Fisher, that's a pretty good chop. Right in front of the referee, loses the stick, and no call.
Sedin stay out for the face-off in the Nashville zone. Henrik Sedin directing traffic as he settles in for the draw against Matt Cullen. Puck comes to the sideboard. Santarelli hustles after it there. Into the corner for Daniel Sedin, up the boards to Henrik. Henrik's pass for Daniel out of his reach. And Seth Jones starts the rush the other way. Spalling takes his pass, dishes off. Cullen centers, that winds up in the near corner. Former Predator Dan Hamhuis there fighting for the puck. Intercepted by Santarelli, and he works it out to center. Shot back in by Nashville, and back goes Hamhuis, being watched by Craig Smith. Gets the puck around to Dale Weiss. Weiss tracked down at center by Spalling. Pass for Smith didn't work. Weiss gets the puck again and sends it high into Nashville territory. David Booth, Brad Richardson, the other members of this forward line. Here's Weiss putting one in front. That was blocked. And the Predators' Cullen flips the puck down into the Vancouver zone. Bieksa goes back around for Ryan Stanton. Ahead for David Booth. Canucks couldn't get the puck out. Booth has another chance. Sends it in the middle. Intercepted. Legwand overskated the puck as he tried to get a shot away. But he's able to recover to dump it in deep. Canucks send it up the near boards. And Booth once more can't move it outside the line. Another chance to clear, and this time Richardson puts it off the glass and out to neutral ice. Picked up there by Booth, who's able to one-hand the puck into Nashville territory. No score, 2.5 minutes in. There's Matthias Ekholm passing over to Joe Piscula. He gives the puck away at center. Zach Dalpe comes back the other way. Down the left wing. Dalpe on the backhand. Put one wide of the goal. Tom Sestito after the puck on the far boards. Behind the net for Zach Kassian, who's back into the Vancouver lineup after sitting out the game in Carolina. Kassian in the left wing corner. Piscula takes the puck away. Clears to the right point. Held in by Edler. He's checked, however, and the puck is sent down to the Vancouver blue line. Garrison over to get it. Sends it ahead to Kassian. Puck deflects back. Here's Dalpe in. Slap shot handled by Mazanec, and he hangs on for the whistle.
Zach Dalpe, who got his first point as a Vancouver Canuck in Carolina against his old team, has a chance. You know what I really liked was his backhand. His backhand shot that went high and wide. A good drive, went wide on the defenseman and had the backhand chance. That long one handled easily by the big Czech goaltender for the Predators.
Listed at 6'4", 187 pounds is the tall Czech goaltender.
Yes.
Got some filling out to do.
Well, one place 187. The next one I saw 197, which seems more like it, but I'm sure the 187 was in the summer.
Here's Ryan Ellison of the Vancouver zone. Puck goes to the inboards. Hughes clears it to the near side, skates after the puck himself. Works it ahead to Chris Higgins. Higgins across for Hansen. He bats the puck forward, tries to go through the defense. Higgins following up, cuts in front of the backhand. Higgins shoots. Hansen missed the rebound as he swatted at the puck but couldn't make contact. Hansen from the corner. Leaves for Ryan Kessler. Kessler back in deep for Hansen. That's broken up. Higgins throws a hit along the boards and comes up with the puck. He finds Kessler. Back to Higgins. Shoots, and a stick save by Mazanec. Predators hammer the puck down the ice, and this will be an icing call. With the face-off coming back into Nashville territory, best offensive zone shift for the Canucks so far.
Jannik Hansen looks like he got his hand slashed. The rebound, it's a quick rebound. Jannik Hansen doesn't quite have his stick ready for that one. It's off a skate, goes right by him. Hansen does it, and you can see it bouncing, and it just bounced underneath his stick.
Sedin line out after the icing. Ellis intercepts behind the goal. Edler aggressively tried to hold that one in, but the puck is out. Daniel Sedin has it up to Kevin Bieksa. That hit the linesman, but Bieksa on the backhand able to reach back and dump the puck in. Predators haven't been able to complete their full change. They'll try to work the puck down into the Vancouver zone. To do that, here comes Fisher. Now the defense is able to change as Fisher moves in on Edler, who knocks the puck away, clears it up the glass, and down to the Nashville blue line. 4.5 minutes into a scoreless first. Shots are 3-2 Vancouver as the puck is played in behind the Canuck goal. Hughes there. Around for Booth. He couldn't come up with the puck. Yossi with a long shot. Luongo handled it. Rebound there. Luongo and a quick whistle as he tried to cover. And some rough stuff. Hughes involved in the corner to the right of the Vancouver net.
Well, anytime that a guy takes 3 swipes at your goaltender trying to dig out that rebound, you better react, and that's Kevin Bieksa and Dan Hughes. Roberto Luongo, this long screen shot. Can't find it, goes by Hornquist, and now it's batted right back into him. He does get that quick whistle. Referee in behind Roberto Luongo, lost sight.
More edgy Kevin Bieksa. We've seen lots on the road trip. Here's Murph.
Guys, play Safeway's $1 million score win. If any Vancouver player scores 5 goals in tonight's game, Brent Keenan of Richmond could win $1 million. Shop and swipe at Safeway, and you could be our next lucky winner.
Brad Richardson after the puck off the face-off in the Vancouver zone. Predators, Laguan tried to get it to the blue line, but it escapes the zone. Thrown hard to the near side. Ricochets right to Gabriel Bourque, who backhands the puck into the Vancouver end. Canucks send it around for Dale Weiss. He's pressured immediately by Victor Barton as he pinched in off the left point. Canucks come up with the puck, work it to Booth. Stallberg is one of the men back. Richardson played the puck past him. In on the forecheck was Hughes. Puck held in at the right point by Tanev. Round to David Booth. He risks one in front. That deflects back towards Tanev, but never got there. And the Predators send a long one ahead. Here's Stallberg in on the right wing. Victor Stallberg waiting for help. Predators changing. Drops one back. Matthias Ekholm takes the pass. Down to Stallberg. In front. Luongo through traffic. Had to track that puck. And he's able to make the save and cover.
Well, guys, this was last game early. Jason Bowman with the big hit on Kevin Bieksa. Dirty hit it was. And John Tortorella said today he felt that hit woke up his team in Carolina, and they went on to play pretty well. When told of Tortorella's comments this morning, Kevin Bieksa said the hit may have woken up the team, but it almost put him to sleep.
They might have needed that, John, back-to-back afternoon games.
That's
as
right.
We talked about.
We were trying to figure out when they had back-to-back previously, and Greg Shannon naturally knew that. 2007, a San Jose Phoenix back-to-back afternoon trip.
That was right at the end of the year after the Canucks had clinched another division. Played a mean-nothing game in Phoenix. And played right up to the way I described it. It was not a very entertaining game in Phoenix, if I recall. Here it's scoreless as we approach the 6-minute mark of the first period. Predators breaking out, pass to center, Nystrom. Backhands the puck in behind the goal. Bieksa there. Trying to come up with a puck. Now it's poked to the near side. Stanton ahead for Dalpe, who takes a hit while clearing the zone. Kassian watching Pascula as he passes to Ekholm, who's hit by Sestito, but makes the play to center. Hendricks bumped by Kassian as he dumps the puck into the Vancouver end. Stanton ahead to Zach Kassian. Kessler wants the lead pass. Kassian elects to drive the puck in for him. Kessler after it on the right wing. Runs into Victor Bartley. And the puck comes to Ryan Ellis, who gets it out. Edler to Garrison. Ahead to Hansen, who deflects the puck. Jumping up. There you see the 6'4".
Yes.
As the goaltender, Mazanec, jumped up in the air and gloved that tip in that was heading over the net. Lucky he didn't go off the heel of the glove. Game still scoreless.
Vancouver Canucks return home tomorrow to play 3 games in 4 nights. Starts on December 6th against the Coyotes, followed by back-to-backs on the 8th and 9th against the Hurricanes and the Avalanche. Great seats still available for all 3 games, so don't delay. Go to Canucks.com/tickets to buy yours today.
Really important week for the Canucks.
Coyotes on their western swing. They're in Edmonton tonight, Calgary tomorrow.
First, the Predators are coming to this one 4 points back of the Canucks. Vancouver 9th in the West. Then it's Winnipeg and Nashville. Jason Garrison puts one off the side of the goal. Kessler on the rebound, backhanded it off the other side of the net. Kessler keeps after the puck. Finds Hansen. Into Higgins. Higgins back to Edler. Wrist shot deflects towards Matt Cullen, who turns with the puck and starts out. Cullen across for Smith. Tried to chip one into the middle. That's broken up. Sent ahead for Higgins, who's just offside. Batting the puck in as he backed in, and the whistle blows.
A good play by Jason Garrison off the side of the net. Ryan Kessler on the backhand just hits the side as Mazanec had trouble coming across. The Canucks seem to be more focused on the road, John. They don't have those lapses like they seem to at home. Where there's the Chicago game, for instance, the 9 seconds, and then late in the games where they just seem to have a mental lapse that costs them.
Well, upon their return home, trying to make Rogers Arena a more difficult place to play after scoring just 1 victory in their recent 6-game homestand. Scoreless in this one, just about 7.5 minutes into the first. Seth Jones trying to move it on the right wing. That didn't work. Jones will try again, right up the middle. Wrist shot, and reaching in was Tanev to direct that one out of play.
Look at Seth Jones, and without Shea Weber in the lineup, Barry Trotz talked about the 19-year-old playing like a 19-year-old sometimes. His minuses show that, but he said he plays like a 29-year-old most of the time, and that's his points and all the things that he does. He's smart and poised, and he said he plays like a real veteran most of the time, but every now and then you see that he is right out of junior.
Here's Stanton ahead for Booth. Mazanec tips the puck to the corner. Booth is there to pick it up. David Booth trying to leave along the boards. Bieksa gets the puck, throws it in front. That's blocked. And the Predators break out. Leg one in on the left side. Stops to get away from Stanton. Now turns and dumps the puck behind the net for Bourque. Gabriel Bourque tried to throw one in front. Bieksa chips that the other way. Predators reclaim possession of the puck. Ekholm, slap shot. Luongo's got it. And Roberto Luongo gets the whistle for a face-off in the Vancouver zone.
Well, no traffic in front of Roberto Luongo that time. Ekholm shot. Nobody in the shooting lanes. Good job by Ryan Stanton to keep that boxed out. Ekholm takes the shot, and Roberto no trouble absorbing it. Kevin Bieksa on the other side, down low, making sure nobody got in front.
Henrik Sedin against Mike Fisher, who wins the faceoff. Jones to the left point. Yossi puts one in front. Wilson was looking for the deflection, couldn't tip it on goal. Now Jones with a shot, along with the save. Wilson on the rebound, couldn't get a shot away. And Daniel Sedin takes the puck and dumps it around for Jason Garrison. Ahead for Santorelli, who took the man to allow the puck to escape the zone. Predators play it the other way. Garrison takes control. Predators have had the last 4 shots in the hockey game, out shooting the Canucks 6-3 here in the first, but there's no score. Henrik Sedin in for Daniel Sedin. He couldn't corral the puck. Predators try to get it out. Henrik intercepts that. Here's Daniel dumping it back into the corner for Mike Santorelli. Santorelli takes a look before passing to Henrik Sedin. Back in deep for Santorelli. Along the boards for Daniel Sedin. Leaves for Santorelli, who is checked, but he keeps after the puck. Predators Fisher had it for a moment. Tried to get it out. Garrison held that in with one hand on the stick. Predators try the near side. Edler moves down, and he blocks the attempted clear by Nashville. We're past the 9-minute mark of the first. No score, and Colin Wilson tries his luck getting the puck out. He's able to get it past Santorelli to center. Edler up to Santorelli. Here's Daniel Sedin. Slap shot. Right pad save for Mazanec. Now Santorelli centers. Onto the ice is Dalpe. Back to Santorelli. Other side, Tanev moves down from the right point. Blocked one clearing attempt, but not the second, as Nystrom is able to get the puck down the ice. Could be another icing, and it will be. And the Predators may have some tired legs out there.
But the Sedin line was just on, so John Tortorella can't come with the Henrik line after that icing. Gary Volk made the good point in the pregame show about losing Alex Burrows and how important he is to Henrik and Daniel Sedin. Even though Alex hasn't scored in forever, he allows them to have more room and for them to succeed, and that's why Henrik and Daniel are currently on a little streak.
Stahlberg trying to move in. Pardon me, Hendricks trying to move in on the right.
Is that not carrying the puck?
Yes. He did close his hand and bring it forward. And I know it's your pet peeve.
It is. It is. Now that they have that concealing the puck penalty that they seem to call, they let the guys in the neutral zone grab it and carry it along. Okay, it's bouncing. It's up in the air. Okay, 2 or 3 yards. Good for a first down.
I know what you were doing last night.
Yes.
Although you weren't sporting the colors like some of us.
No, I didn't start in the first minute hollering Seahawks.
Predators dump the puck into the Vancouver zone. Kevin Bieksa couldn't get it by the oncoming forechecker. Higgins after the puck on Ekholm. Picked up by Kessler. He's checked. Keeps after the puck and gets it to the line, but not out. Legwand backhands one in front. That went off Bourque and out of play in the corner. So Predators unable to score there. Neither team able to score so far here in Nashville.
Check out the Canucks team store for the fan on your list this holiday season. Heritage Classic Collection is perfect for the classic fan, and there are great Canucks gift ideas for the pet lover, business traveler, or collector. Visit any of the 3 team store locations or check out more gift ideas at Canucks.com/gift guide. Canucks team store, where the players shop.
Have you gone on to look for gifts for Simon yet? Here, but
I should.
Your dog deserves a Canuck collar.
He's a good boy. I know you were laughing because you were walking down the hall last night and you heard me FaceTiming the dog.
Your dog, yes.
He misses me. Probably watching intently this first period, which is scoreless. 9.5 minutes remaining. Brad Richardson pokes the puck out and now knocks it away from Ekholm and down into the Nashville zone. Mazanec leaves. Predators send it ahead. Spalling almost lost the puck. Now he sends it back for Piscula. One time briefly, Calgary Flame. Ekholm trying to get the puck out. Cullen collects. Up the right wing, Wilson pretended to play the puck, then jumped inside and got a good chance. That was tricky. Fisher for Wilson again. Colin Wilson to the blue line. Seth Jones. Here's Yossi putting one in front. Knocked away by the Canucks, and Chris Tanev leads the rush to center. Tanev will shoot a long one in wide of the goal. Puck picked up by Daniel Sedin. His shot changed direction, fluttered into the goaltender, who grabs the puck and hangs on.
Colin Wilson looks like he's going to go wide, just chips it through Dan Hamhuis, has a backhand chance. Roberto Luongo off to Crest in perfect position. Wilson has nothing to shoot at. Colin Wilson, I always thought he'd be a 25 to 30 goal scorer. Yet he seems to be that 15 to 20 guy. He's one of the chants like that. You see the skill Just maybe not the finish.
Still only 23, 24, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Drafted in 2008. Son of ex-Garrett teammate Kerry Wilson.
That's right, wearing Kerry's old number 33.
Here's Jannik Hansen in, dropping for Chris Higgins, and that one appeared to go off the mask of the goaltender. Mazenitz, as he headed it to the end boards. Now Edler with a blast, and that goes off Hendricks high in the air and into the seats.
With Klein and Weber out, this is a real young defense. Roman Josi is the veteran guy at 117 games. And there's the old defenseman himself, Phil Housley, who was a head coach of the U.S. junior team that won the World Championship. So he's familiar with coaching younger defensemen. And he was a great offensive defenseman and didn't get a whole lot of credit for the defensive side, but been able to fit right in with Barry Trotz and his crew.
Can also relate it to the pressures and expectations of a teenager trying to play in this league.
Well, American-born teenager.
3 Canucks after the puck at center. Kassian hit the linesman with his dump in it. Fell right at the feet of Dalpe. His pass picked off by Stahlberg, and the Predators' Bork has the puck at center. Tried to find Stahlberg, knocked away by Kassian. Bieksa can't get the puck out. Kassian steps into Bork, and Bieksa winds up with the puck. He just dumps it to an open wing. Ekholm there drives it back in. Predators first on the puck. That one thrown towards the goal. Didn't get through. Santorelli turns with it. And now gets it out to center to Tom Sestito. Sestito at the end of his shift plays the puck forward. Santorelli moves in towards Ekholm. 7 minutes left. First period. Patrick Hornqvist at center. And the puck played into the Vancouver zone. Wilson moves in on Hamhuis, who's able to slide away from the check. Get the puck ahead to Henrik Sedin. Quick touch pass to Daniel. Daniel ahead for Santorelli. Glove down by Jones. He sends the puck the other way. Hornqvist moves in, but Wilson just preceded him. Close play at the blue line, but it's blown down by Johnny Murray on the offside. Canucks returning home tomorrow.
Here's a look at the referees, and we have to congratulate Kelly Sutherland on being chosen to be one of the NHL officials at the Sochi Olympics this year. 7 referees, 6 linesmen, and Kelly Sutherland is one of them. Congratulations to Kelly.
Looked like Dale Weiss just took the puck or a stick up high. He's checking for damage as play continues. Enough with the pucks to the face. Both these teams. Remember the one to Kessler last game, too, that hit him sort of in the back of the net. Hamhuis working to hold the puck in. Richardson in support, drives one wide of the goal. Jones turns with the puck. Slowly moves out.
Mike Bernstein talking to Dale Weiss and now getting the repair kit out.
Action continues with Mike Santorelli skating to center on the left wing. Checked from behind by Fisher. Edler plays that one just as Hamhuis was jumping onto the bench, and Dan Hamhuis saw Edler was going to play the puck and made sure his quick was a little changer. His change was a little quicker than it was originally going to be. You know what I'm trying to say. It's been a long road trip. Henrik Sedin with the puck. Blue line feed. Garrison couldn't get that one through. Santorelli gets the puck. Mike Santorelli in deep for Daniel Sedin. Daniel into the corner for Henrik. Blue line pass. Garrison. Left point. Edler in front. Tried to set up the redirect for Daniel Sedin. He couldn't get it on goal. Henrik Sedin gets the puck. Behind for Santorelli. Blue line pass. Garrison. Wrist shot deflected again by, this time, Henrik Sedin. Couldn't get through the pile. Daniel gets the puck in the right wing corner. Henrik to Mike Santorelli. Santorelli, quick stop. Still with the puck. Leaves for Henrik Sedin. Good pressure here, but nothing on net yet. Under 5 minutes to go in the first. Daniel Sedin has the puck. Works his way to the corner. Hooks behind for Santorelli. Leaves for Henrik. Banks the puck to himself. Now comes out front. Henrik trying to find Santorelli. And finally broken up by the Predators who get the puck out. Garrison under pressure. Dumps the puck around for Alex Edler. He slides it ahead to Daniel Sedin, who tips the puck to neutral ice. Ryan Kessler picks it up and plays it into Nashville territory. Stallberg trying to move up. Fans reacting. Thought there should have been a penalty to Kessler. Here's a centering pass, and Hansen couldn't get a shot on goal. Couple of possible fouls they've let go. The Fisher slash on Higgins, and now Kessler. Here's Borkin centering the puck. Stallberg shot it wide. The horn sounded, but the puck went off the end boards.
It's not in the net.
Stays scoreless. Fans continue to buzz. They thought Stallberg at Luongo at his mercy. Here's Ryan Stanton. Ahead to Chris Higgins. Higgins trying to find Jannik Hansen. That's broken up. But Richardson's able to hold the puck in behind the net to Hansen. Jannik Hansen with room. Centers. Higgins couldn't get a shot away. Here's Hamhuis off the bench, putting one wide of the goal. Ryan Ellis gets the loose puck. Sends it ahead. Nystrom tries to relay forward, and the Canucks break that up. Victor Bartley in his own zone. Now Ellis. Ahead to Gostad, who sends one through to Luongo. He'll cover with Hendricks cruising through. Great chance for the Predators. Victor Stallberg off the mark, and it's still 0-0.
This period brought to you by Toyota. The year-end countdown is on now, making it the perfect time to get into a new Toyota.
Shea Weber would always be out against the Sedins. This is Roman Josi. You don't get all the way turned around against Henrik Sedin. And at the other end, Dale Weiss. Puck comes up, catches him in the face as it was chipped off a stick on the clearing attempt, right above the right eye.
Sporting. The results of that. But out on the ice for the Canucks is Dale Weiss as the Predators get the puck out to center. Cullen brings it in, trying to go through the defense. That's broken up. Tanev winds up with the puck and gets it off the boards and out. 2:40 to go in the opening period. Icing waved off. Luongo out of his net to play the puck around. Weiss couldn't get it out the far side. Predators have the chance in front. Luongo, a great save off Smith. There were two Predators all alone in front, and Craig Smith robbed by Roberto Luongo.
That's the best save of the game by either goaltender. Giveaway by the Canucks. Chris Tanev can't get it by. And so Dan Hamhuis is already around waiting to receive that pass, so there's nobody in front. And Smith is robbed by Roberto Luongo.
That was the first shot in over 8 minutes of playing time here in the first period. And what a test for Luongo.
Barry Trotz talked about that this morning. Since Pekka Rinne's injury, they've had to change the style of their play no matter where, home or away.
Backhand shot by Kessler. Handled by Mazenitz. And the puck cleared down into the Vancouver zone.
The first 7 games that Pekka Rinne was hurt, the Predators allowed 30 goals against. And that's when Barry Trotz said, okay, we have to just change our style of play.
Higgins steals the puck. Took a look and lost it as he tried to make a pass. Canucks hold it in. Kessler in front. Backhander. Oh, it went off the crossbar. Not sure what it counted as Kessler batted his own rebound out of the air. It might have been falling into the net.
That's what I was thinking.
And Kessler decided to try to whack it in and put it off the bar. So close calls at both ends. As Higgins takes a pass from Hansen at center. Hansen's heading to the bench. Higgins tried to find Kessler. That slides through to the netminder, who plays the puck to the corner. Ellis. That hit Daniel Sedin, who was then bumped by Fisher. Final minute, first period. Bieksa, good read there to hold the puck in the Nashville zone. He's in deep. As Henrik gets the puck. High slot. Hamhuis hit the post. Loose puck. Winds up behind the net. Chance for Daniel Sedin on the left wing. Daniel in deep for Henrik. Henrik Pass for Santorelli, intercepted by Ellis. He gets the puck out. Here comes Hornquist. He's got a step on Bieksa. Hornquist trying to cut in on goal. Backhander went wide. Canucks get the puck out. They've had a crossbar and a post their last 2 shifts. Here's Henrik Sedin in. He goes rink wide. Garrison off the bench. Back one behind the net for Daniel Sedin. Daniel tried to find Santorelli. That was out of his reach. Garrison gets the puck. In deep for Henrik Sedin. Santorelli's in front. So's Daniel. Henrik from behind the goal. Side of the goal for Daniel. Back to Henrik in the corner. 5 seconds to go in the period. Daniel Sedin back to Garrison. Hooks it in deep, and they're going to run out of time, I think. Santorelli making moves, and there's the horn. Canucks with a couple of great chances. Late, but it's still scoreless.
All right, Kessler has one go off the goaltender, and it looks like it's going to drop in. It's off his shoulder. I don't know whether it would have or not. He tries to backhand it. No, it wouldn't have.
Yep.
And then Dan Hamhuis has a good backhand shot through a maze of players. And Mazanec is beaten, but not the post.
So neither team able to score in the first. Predators outshot the Canucks 8-5. We've got a feature on the Canucks Sports Celebrities Festival coming up in our intermission. And we'll hear from Don Taylor and Gary Valk as well. They're up after the break. Scoreless here through 1 in Nashville.
Welcome back to Nashville. Canucks closing out a 4-game road trip through 1 period. We'll take a look at the first period scoring summary or statistics brought to you by Future Shop for the season's hottest gadgets at the best price guaranteed. Head to futureshop.ca, season's gadgets from Future Shop. Shots were in favor of the Predators. We had no power plays, and the Predators also leading in the face-off dot. With all that said, it was still a pretty good first period for Mike Santorelli has been moved up to the top line, guys.
That it was. What an opportunity for him. And that takes us to John Garrett's ever-popular Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway. Escape the cold with the new Sriracha Steak Melt. Subway, eat fresh.
Fresh Take this game. A guy who plays center, plays wing, plays everywhere. Play the wing, you got to be strong on the boards. Get the puck out. Play the wing, you got to be strong on the boards. Get the puck to your centerman, and then create some open ice. Protect it along the boards, create some open ice. Come back defensively, and again, you're playing with Henrik and Daniel Sedin. Give it to one of them and then go to the net. And Mike Santorelli, a great utility player because he can do all those things. And Murph talked about being under 500 in the faceoff circle. Well, one of the reasons Mike Santorelli didn't take any draws because he's playing the wing. And he leads the Canucks in faceoff percent.
He's in the top 20 in the NHL at just over 54%. They'll start with the Kessler line here. Roberto Luongo against Marek Mazanec, the goaltending matchup. And the Canucks control the second period faceoff. Gostet has to get a new stick right after the draw. Grabs one from the bench as the puck is played forward, and Chris Higgins deflects it into Nashville territory. Bieksa moves down from the right point. Here's a giveaway. Higgins cutting in front, and the puck was knocked off his stick before he could get a shot away. Back comes Hendricks. Slides the puck to the corner. Victor Bartley's in deep. Puck comes to Nystrom behind the net. Bieksa takes it away. And banks one ahead to Chris Higgins. Quickly to Hansen. Back to Higgins. Higgins down the left wing. Sends one in front. Out of the reach of Hansen. And the puck collected by Eric Nystrom, who turns in his own zone. Up ahead for Fisher. He was checked. Puck deflects back towards Mike Fisher. He couldn't come up with it, and Tanev passes to Dan Hamhuis. Daniel Sedin to Jannik Hansen. Forward for Henrik Sedin. That's broken up. Bartley gets the puck out, and Fisher plays it over the Vancouver line. Hornquist trying to make a play towards the front. That's broken up. Daniel Sedin passes it center to David Booth. Booth taking a turn with the Twins here, and a backhander goes wide. Fisher dumps the puck in behind the Canuck goal, and Luongo leaves for Dan Hamhuis. We'll see where Mike Santorelli winds up. As Tanev lifts the puck in from center. Seth Jones trying to get it out. That was blocked in the corner. Predators get the puck to the blue line. Bieksa holds it in, but now it's brought out by Stallberg. Checked from behind by Daniel Sedin. Here's Dale Weiss in. Drops. Santorelli. Wrist shot off the target on the short side. So Santorelli on a line with Richardson and Weiss, and Santorelli has the puck again. In front, just wide of the net as Richardson is trying to tip it. Stanton fires to the right point to Bieksa. He sends one on goal. Richardson looking for the deflection. Couldn't get it by Seth Jones. Predators get the puck out. Here comes Wilson. Trying to step around Bieksa. Wilson looks in front. Throws one on goal. Stick save Luongo. Legwand gets the puck. David Legwand tried to feed the blue line. That came out. Predators play it back in, but they don't touch the puck. And play continues. Richardson pass to Santorelli. He cuts down the right wing with a wrist shot. And that one deflects out of play for a face-off.
Good work by the Kessler-Higgins line. It forced some mistakes in their own zone. The Predators, there's Ryan Kessler, shuts off the around the boards play right to Chris Higgins, and he can't cut across in front of Mazanets. Mike Santorelli with the high shot.
Zach Dalpe comes out for the face-off in the Nashville zone. Trying to kick the puck back. It winds up on the sideboards. Matt Cullen there. Out to center. Chris Tanev dumps the puck the other way. Sestito gets it to Cassian, who plays it around to the far boards. Dalpe after it there. In comes Sestito, making moves in the corner. Sestito trying to go inside-outside on Spaulding, who takes the puck away, gets it ahead, and Craig Smith tips it to Ekholm. Tripped up. There'll be a penalty. As Ekholm went down, delayed call. Smith moves in. Drops for Ekholm, had to reach for it, but he keeps possession of the puck, albeit in the neutral zone. Net empty for Nashville. Delayed penalty to the Canucks, and now the puck contacted by Garrison, drawing the whistle. And I think it's Garrison heading off.
Well, Ekholm, I thought it was more of a hook than a tripping call, and Gord Dwyer is the one making it. It's a stick caught up on Ekholm by Jason Garrison, waist high, and he's off for tripping.
First power play of the game. And the Canucks having to kill penalties without Alex Burrows for the next little while. They were 7th in the NHL when he came back from his initial 12-game absence with the broken foot. Since Burrow's return, the Canucks killed 50 of 54 and moved into a solid first-place ranking in the NHL on the PK. Santorelli and Richardson start this one as Jones brings the puck forward and wrists it around to the near side. Hornquist into the corner for Legwand. Back towards Hornquist, who turns. Under pressure from Santorelli, Legwand gets the puck, rings it around to the far side where Jones is waiting. Jones down the boards. Hanhughes pressured that, but here's Yossi wide open, shoots, and a right pad save by Luongo, who came out to challenge. Santorelli couldn't get the puck out. Yossi to the right point, gets it back, passes down. Hornquist backhander wide of the goal. Legwand gets the puck behind the net. David Legwand to the blue line. Jones left point. Yossi. Roman Yossi skates down towards the corner, hooks one back. Here's Seth Jones, other side, centered, and Fisher is stopped by Luongo on a one-timer. Predators were patient setting up that chance, but now they lose the puck, and Santorelli sends it the length of the ice.
Roberto's positioning has been so good. We saw that save on Smith in the first period, and then the save on Yossi, and now Mike Fisher. Again, just perfect position.
35 seconds to go in the power play. Cullen up ahead to Colin Wilson. And offside was Craig Smith. He was impatient going into the Vancouver zone, and the whistle blows.
Well, you have to have confidence that nobody is going to be allowed to get in your way, and Roberto Luongo has that. Comes out, charges Yossi. Good play by Dan Hamhuis. And then find the puck. Roberto's looking through traffic. Mike Fisher is there in the middle, and Roberto's able to find it. Off a couple of bodies, and he's still able to make the save.
Under 30 seconds to go in the Nashville power play. Chris Tanev takes his time before finding the right angle and getting the puck down. Cullen starts out for Nashville. Pass to Ellis, who drives the puck around to the near boards. Bourque reverses. Stanton goes back for the puck, gets it to the line, held in by Ellis. Down the boards, missing the pass was Wilson. Stanton picks it off, throws it up the middle and all the way down. And that'll do it. Garrison steps out of the box. Canucks have killed off 8 in a row, 23 of their last 25. Now in with a shot off the right wing is Hendricks, and that's stopped by Roberto Luongo. Predators had 3 shots on the power play. Couldn't beat the Canuck netminder. The game is still scoreless, and now a pass to the blue line is beyond the reach of Josi and all the way down.
David Booth back out with the Sedins.
More about balancing the lineup, I think, because I can't imagine there was any issue with the way Santorelli played with him in the first period. And he's had an excellent shift, Mike Santorelli. His first 5-on-5 shift to start this period as well with Richardson and Weiss. Here comes Henrik Sedin, 3 Canucks through center. Henrik in over the Nashville line. Stood up. Booth keeps after the puck. He couldn't do anything with it. Squirts free to Josi. And he passes ahead to center. Nystrom up for Gaustad. He knifes the puck through, and the Canucks quickly dump it the other way. We're just past the 6-minute mark, second period, no score. Here's Josi with a wrist shot. Luongo held that on the short side. Garrison takes a hit from Hendricks. Keeps after the puck and tips it free to Zach Kassian. Kassian into the middle. Dan Hamhuis crosses the red and drives a long one in wide of the Nashville goal. Kassian tips the puck behind the net for Sestito. He was checked. Gaustad's after the puck. Gets it ahead to Nystrom. He couldn't move it out. Chance for the Canucks here to set it up to Kevin Bieksa. He leaves for Stanton, who shoots, and that was blocked in front. After the puck in the corner, Zach Dalpe couldn't come up with it, and Nystrom gets it out. Kassian at center, backhands the puck in, and Vancouver starts another quick change as Kessler comes back out with Higgins and Hansen. Ekholm waiting with the puck behind his net. Throws one up the middle, and kicked up to his stick by Stahlberg. Bieksa chance to clear it, couldn't. Here's Victor Stahlberg turning just inside the line. Bieksa fell down, Stahlberg shoots along with the save, and he hangs on. Looked for a moment like there was some room between the legs, but Victor Stahlberg stopped on the 15th Nashville shot, and it's still 0-0.
Now it's time to live the game with Windows. It's a local flavor as Marek Mezenics wins the Rookie of the Month in the National Hockey League, edging out the likes of Chris Kreider, Thomas Hertl, Tyler Toffoli. Posted a record of 5-4-1, 2 goals against average, .932 save percentage. Live the game with Windows.
He has been good, Murph, and Barry Trotz has his team playing real tight defense. They've only allowed 6 shots against here. A couple of close chances at the end of the first period, not much here in the second.
Jannik Hansen flips the puck in from center. Bartley back for the Predators. Took the man to allow Ellis to get the puck, and he sends it ahead to Spaulding. Craig Smith moving in on Garrison, who's out on defense with Chris Tanev. Alex Edler missing from the Vancouver bench. And the Canucks playing with 5 defensemen. Here's a chance in front for Cullen, and Luongo just squeezed the pads to make the save. Luongo with the stop, and he's got the puck.
And you can see Matt Cullen comes over and he talks to Roberto Luongo. He almost missed it. Matt Cullen has played in over 1,100 games. Comes off a skate to him in front, and it's off the heel of his stick. He's reaching forward, and he barely gets it. And Roberto Luongo with, again, a position save.
Murph has some news.
Yes, Alex Edler has left the game. He is not in his gear, and the Canucks say he is being evaluated. Return is questionable.
I remember he missed some time in the Carolina game, in the middle of the game. We thought it might be an equipment problem, but it wasn't.
Booth in with a wrist shot, and stretching with the glove was Mezenics to stop that one.
Who does he remind you of? Here comes David Booth.
Tom
Wrist shot.
Barrasso? I don't know.
Tall Czech goalie, Roman Turek.
Oh, okay.
And that's when I first saw him play, I thought, well, gee, he looks an awful lot like Roman Turek, although he's a little better than Roman Turek. But you don't see the comparison?
Sure,
Wrong
well,
hander.
yeah, the wrong hander for sure. I didn't know exactly who you were looking at. I was thinking maybe you meant Rick DiPietro or Glenn Hanlon or someone like that.
No, the Czech heritage and the height, and he isn't your traditional post-to-post goaltender, butterfly guy, although Mitch Korn is trying to work with him and get him to be more compact and more efficient.
Darren Pupa. Mike Palmateer.
Yes, you're going every Jose Theodore. You're going to mention every right-handed catching goalie.
Tonio. Here's Seth Jones in with a wrist shot. That was blocked. Puck centered, knocked away by the Canucks. Jones gets it again. Wrists it on goal, and Luongo, the save, hangs on. 17-7, the shots favoring Nashville in the hockey game.
Canucks have really done a nice job letting Roberto Luongo see these point shots, and again in front, make sure everybody's down, make sure everybody's boxed out, and Roberto with a clear shooting lane so he can see the puck.
Shots in the period are 9-2 for Nashville. Preds had 3 of them on that power play, which has swung the momentum a little bit. Ryan Stanton lifts one into the Nashville zone. Mazanec slaps it to the side. Held in there by Richardson. Weiss, who's 1 point away from his career best in a season, already has 7 on the year, dumps the puck around to the other side. Stanton tried to hold it in, but it's rolled past him and down into the Nashville zone. Predators, or in the Vancouver zone, pardon me. Predators after it there. Gabriel Bourque pulling away from Richardson. Throws one in front off Legwand, who now gets a pass and just stopped by Luongo on a quick low wrist shot. Piscula holds the puck in. Legwand turning in the corner. Stahlberg takes his pass. Feeds the blue line. Ekholm in for Legwand, who missed the puck. Stanton gets it. He's checked immediately, but able to one-hand the puck up towards Weiss. That was blocked. Scrum for it along the boards. Finally, Weiss has the puck with some room, and he'll play it gently into the Nashville zone. Santorelli gives chase. Canucks changing in the neutral zone behind him as Santorelli looks to hold the puck in the Nashville end, and he gets it behind the net. Along the boards for Sestito. Puck comes back towards Dan Hamhuis. Hamhuis wrists one up high, and easily catching that one is Marek Mazanec to get the whistle. Murphy.
Guys, while there's a break in the action, we can say that Safeway's featured participating product for tonight's game is Kraft salad dressing.
Going home after the road trip.
You're going to be force-fed some salad?
I'm going to be force-fed some salad.
Nearing the halfway mark of the second, still no score. Josi gets the puck. Held in by Garrison at the right point. Gostad trying to get the puck past him. Held in by Zach Dalpe. Mazanec to the corner. Jones bumped by Kassian. Sestito gets the puck. Makes a couple of moves. Now works his way behind the goal. Goes down under the check of Seth Jones. Sestito keeps possession of the puck, however. Banks it along for Kassian, who is checked by Gostad, and Hendricks is able to backhand the puck out. Helped along by Nystrom. Cleared out by the Canucks. Hendricks on the backhand plays it back in as he's bodied by Big Tom Sestito. Here's Jason Garrison behind the Vancouver goal. Kassian missed the pass, but the Predators are offside on the play. It was delayed offside. And Pierre Rasico, who had the arm in the air, blows it down. We'll take a break. 9.5 to go in the second.
Alex Edler on the left side. And pinching in. And right there, and you can see awkward, his left leg. It didn't seem like much there, but you can see him hobbling coming back. And he didn't come out.
Stride did not look right. Let's tell you about Thursday Night Football. From the AFC South, it's 3-9 Jacksonville against 2-10 Houston. Okay, maybe the records don't make it the best matchup, but it's on 5 o'clock Thursday.
You'll have trouble picking that one.
I will, but that's par for the course no matter who's playing. Canucks doing well in the face-off circle this period. They won 8 of 11, but they like to get some more shots. There's one that goes off. Ryan Ellison just wide of the goal. A centering pass from Higgins intended for Kessler. Kessler after the puck behind the goal. Santorelli swoops in for it. They're playing him in a lot of different lines here. Mike Santorelli is. Higgins gets a chance in front on the backhand. Stop with the blocker. Santorelli on the rebound. Can't get it by the goaltender. Great chance there on the second attempt. But Mazanec has the puck and gets the whistle.
Bert Mazenitz just stacks the pads after the original save, the backhand shot, and the rebound. Mike Santorelli just directs it back towards the net. Backhand shot, rebounds up in the air, and boy, oh boy, that's Mazenitz has no idea where that is, but it's caught up in his paraphernalia. You wonder why goalies wear those oversized pants? Well, there's the reason right there, as that one's caught up in Mazenitz's pants.
Why do you wear oversized pants? Here's a shot by Dan Hamhuis, tipped by Daniel Sedin and stopped by Mazenitz. Daniel Sedin from behind the goal. Puck kicked away from him by Jones. Canucks hold it in. Henrik Sedin behind the net to Daniel Sedin. Daniel trying to come out front. Backhand pass blocked, but he gets the puck in behind for David Booth. Booth works his way to the far side. Passes in behind the goal. Puck ricochets back to the corner. Booth is onto it there. David Booth out the near side. Blue line pass. Tanev down for Booth. Knocked down. And the Predators, Wilson, able to get the puck out. Mentioned Santorelli's been playing on a bunch of different lines because John Tortorella likes what he sees, and he's already up over 11 minutes, leading all Canuck forwards in ice time. As that attempted shoot-in goes off a stick and over the glass.
If you drive on snow and ice, you don't want all-season tires. You want all-weather tires. Get Nokian's most advanced all-weather tire, the WRG3 at Cal Tire.
John, you talked about Mike Santorelli and his ice time, and that's really a sign of trust. When the coach says, okay, I need a winger to play with the Sedins to start this game, you can play the wing. Okay, now I need a centerman, you can play center on the next line. Back to the wing again, and that's a trust from your coach.
Only defenseman Dan Hamhuis has seen more ice in this game for the Canucks. Richardson, Weiss, and Hansen out for Vancouver. Predators bring the puck to center. Stallberg in front, leg one, backhander, and Luongo got a piece of it, I think, then it caught the outside of the post. Weiss gets the loose puck. Tripped up, there'll be a penalty here to Nashville, but the Canucks still have the puck. Garrison brings it in. Dumps it in deep, goaltender out, there's the whistle. And the Canucks, after killing the first power play of the game, get their first opportunity with a man advantage.
Well, Dale Weiss did a nice job just keeping the feet going. Keep going, Spalling back on Weiss, and Dale gets his feet going, and Spalling hauls him down. Takes the tripping penalty.
It's Stallberg who heads off.
Stallberg, there you go, wrong guy.
Canucks on a season best 5 consecutive games with at least one power play goal. And I started going back to last year through all the game sheets and got a long way in, John, and couldn't find any occasion of them going 5 in a row with a power play goal. Looked at the year before, too, and for as ineffective as a power play has been in terms of production this year, this is a pretty heady streak.
Nice long streak.
Even by other season standards. Hamhuis ahead to Henrik Sedin. Hamhuis taking the place of Alex Edler on this first unit power play. Here's Garrison with room. He shoots and he missed the net. Whistled it wide on the glove side. Daniel Sedin controls on the left wing. Back to Hamhuis. He'll tee it up again, maybe. No, it goes the other way. Daniel lets it go to the side. Kessler in too tight to the goaltender. It's in the crease, however. Garrison banging away. Still loose. Dug free by Daniel. Back to Hamhuis. And off the outside of the net. Mesh rippled. It looked like it was in for a moment. Canucks keep possession of the puck, and they hook it around to Henrik Sedin. Henrik at the right wing hash marks. Good pressure here on the power play. He plays catch with Garrison, goes across, and that pass for Hamhuis too hot to handle. But he takes the puck on the ricochet. Dan Hamhuis dumps around for Henrik Sedin. Pass for Daniel Sedin. Daniel, other side for Hamhuis. Penalties half over. Here's Garrison. Shoots. Stopped by Mazenitz, and he's able to cover up, and then Kessler took down Jones, I think. Now another body goes down. That's Daniel Sedin well after the whistle. And it's getting a little testy in front of the Nashville goal.
Mazenitz gets scrambling as Ryan Kessler tries to drag it to the front of the net. The puck is still loose. Kelly Sutherland is hollering, still loose. Back to Dan Hamhuis. He missed the net. And Ryan Kessler on the shot from Jason Garrison, and Mazenitz again. It's off one arm, off the other arm, and stays out.
Second unit for the Canucks has 56 seconds to work with. Santorelli will take the face-off against Spalling. Booth and Higgins, the other forwards. Bieksa and Tanev, two right-hand shot defensemen. But the puck is cleared. Luongo stops it at the side of the goal. Bieksa leads the rush to center. Shoots the puck in for Vancouver. Booth is after it in the corner. Santorelli pokes the puck free to Higgins. Blue line pass, Bieksa. Right point, Chris Tanev over to Bieksa. Down to Higgins. Cross to Tanev, over to Bieksa. Bieksa tried a wrist shot, didn't get anything on it. Deflects to Higgins, back to Bieksa. Over to Higgins again. That's out of his reach. And Bartley trying to get the puck out, can't. Santorelli to Bieksa. Back to Mike Santorelli. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Santorelli to Bieksa. Takes a look, lets it go. That was blocked, and the puck is shot down the ice by Spalling. Penalty's over. Both teams are 0 for 1 on the power play. Canucks managed 3 shots on that one, but had a ton of pressure in the Nashville zone. Canucks can't get the puck out of their own end. Legwand trying to find Bork. That got by him. Hamhuis backhands the puck forward, and Hansen sends it further along. 5 minutes to go. Second period. Canucks nothing, and the Predators nothing. Here's Stallberg again with a quick shot. Big rebound. And Bieksa was there to check Stallberg as he went after it. Hansen at center kicks the puck towards Weiss, but it got away from him and is quickly headman to Bork. He's checked, and back comes Brad Richardson. In over the Nashville line on the right wing. Richardson tips the puck behind the net. Hansen swoops in after it. Richardson gets it. Centers. Weiss stop. Richardson banked it in. Brad Richardson on the rebound. Put it in off the goaltender. And the Canucks lead 1-0.
John, that just shows you what a hard forecheck can do. Canucks in hard on the boards and create that turnover. And Dale Weiss and Brad Richardson, you just get in hard, create a turnover. There's the good hard forecheck by Dale Weiss. Brad Richardson throws it out and then gets it right back again and banks it off the goaltender. Jannik Hansen in. Dale Weiss the shot. Brad Richardson off the goaltender. And all 3 forwards should be involved in this. Jannik Hansen should get an assist. Dale Weiss should get an assist, and Brad Richardson the goal.
Dale Weiss will tie that career best we talked about, his 8th point of the season on the 6th goal for Richardson. 15:24, the time of the tally. And the Canucks score first for the 2nd game in a row, John. Told you, December is going to be different. But they can't get the puck out. Predators play it to the near corner. Garrison there through a check, puck to the blue line. Yossi with a drive along the same big rebound. They score! Hornquist set it up at the side, and Colin Wilson had a tap in to make it 1-1.
Shift after a goal, you have to be so careful. You just get through it, and the shot, Roberto doesn't see that one, can't handle the rebound, goes right out in the bang-bang pass play. The shot gets through it. You can see the screen as Daniel Sedin was out trying to block that one. And it goes by him, and then Roberto can't handle the rebound.
Wilson won't get many easier than that. He's got his 5th. The lead for Vancouver lasted 30 seconds. Richardson at 15:24, Wilson at 15:54. And this game is all back to square. Wilson scores in consecutive games. He'd gone 11 without. Now he's got goals in back-to-back contests. 1-1 with 3.5 to go in the second. Victor Bartley moves in on the left wing, slides the puck towards Luongo. Now moves in on Stanton, who's able to play the puck to the corner. And it's brought out by Ryan Kessler. Kessler gets to the Nashville blue line and plays the puck behind the goal. Mazinet sends it around, and here's Victor Stallberg. His pass deflects off a Vancouver skate right through to Luongo, who slides the puck to Jason Garrison. Long lead pass for Hansen. That came right through to the goaltender, who steered the puck wide of the goal. Spalling at center. Gets away from his check. Nick Spaulding moves in with a wrist shot attempt. That's off the stick and off the end glass. Under 3 minutes to go in the second. A 1-1 tie. Predators after the puck in the Vancouver zone. Trying to get it back towards the defenseman, Piskula. That was blocked. Garrison takes possession. And now Hamhuis able to get the puck out and down into Nashville territory. Luongo is the champ. And the Go Preds Go chant comes up as well. We got an icing call for a stoppage in play, allowing us to tell you about the goal that came a couple tallies ago. The opening goal to Vancouver and a winner on Safeway scoring win from Safeway and Kraft salad dressing. We congratulate Megan Cochran of Burnaby. Megan, you've won a Garmin Nuvi GPS.
Well, a good comeback shift for Barry Trotz. And you get Hornquist and Wilson out there, and their best offensive players, really.
Face off in the Nashville zone. Booth was able to force the puck to the far corner. Now he's after it for Vancouver. David Booth behind the net for Daniel Sedin. Puck comes back towards Booth. Shielding it behind the net. Booth works his way to the corner. Turns there, trying to get away from Piskula. Booth takes the puck behind the net. Good strength here. Hooks one on goal. Stopped by Mazanets. And he hangs on for the whistle. Booth foiled there, but we've had a couple of goals. Richardson with his 6th, Colin Wilson with his 5th, and these two teams are knotted at 1.
Well, after Alex Burrows took the puck to the face in Carolina, the Canucks flew right to Nashville and had a team dinner. And Burrows, who didn't know his jaw was broken yet, was watching his teammates gorge themselves on steak and lobster. He was forced to eat lobster bisques, some soft crab cakes, and spaghetti. So at that time, he said, maybe something is wrong, and found it was broken the next day.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for Alex Burrows. Had the broken foot to start, and this is the latest setback. Canucks will try to make do in the interim. They're on even terms in this one. As Nystrom throws the puck ahead, Hendricks did well to control it. He moves in on the right side. Stanton over to check him and is able to play the puck up the boards. Higgins draws an interference penalty here. As he tried to go after the puck, Ellis stepped in front of him. And an interference call to Ryan Ellis will put Vancouver on the power play.
Well, because the puck was halfway up the boards, Chris Higgins was unable to handle it. It's halfway up the boards, and so there's the pinch. Yeah, because Chris Higgins didn't make contact, penalty is called.
Fans don't like it, but the Predators shorthanded for the second time in a row, and the Canucks will look to duplicate the pressure they had on their first power play, but just add a little finish to it. Canucks win possession off the draw. Garrison with a drive, big rebound. Henrik Sedin takes possession of the puck. Back to Garrison. Here's Henrik, and his wrist shot tipped wide by brother Daniel Sedin. Kessler gets the puck to Henrik. Back to Garrison, over to Henrik Sedin again. Henrik looking in front, finds Hamhuis, stopped by Mazanets, sliding to his right, and he had a long way to go on that one. Canucks still have the puck. Power play looking good. Here's Hamhuis. Garrison lets it go, and he whistled that one off the glass. Daniel Sedin gets the puck, finds Henrik. Henrik back to Garrison, a swing and a miss, and the puck is out to center. Final minute, second period. Canucks looking to take the late lead. Here's Garrison again with a drive, right pad save, loose puck. It comes back towards Dan Hamhuis. Might keep loading it up for Garrison. Instead, he goes left side to Henrik Sedin. Back to Garrison, shoots, and a stick save by Mazanets. Garrison hustles to hold the puck in. Henrik Sedin from behind the net, centers for Daniel, couldn't get a shot away. Hamhuis gets the puck, drags to the middle, fakes the shot. Dan Hamhuis to Jason Garrison. Now to Henrik Sedin, 30 seconds to go in the period. Here's Hamhuis, and he shot it off the target. Henrik's after the puck on the far side. Battling Seth Jones, finding the Predators get possession, and it's off the skate of Garrison and out to center. 15 seconds to go in the period. Henrik Sedin breaks back in, slows, Henrik drops, Garrison stopped by the goaltender, and the rebound put wide. Jason Garrison has had his looks here on this power play. There's 5 seconds left in the period. Here's Bieksa. Booth shoots, stopped by Mazanets, and that'll do it for period 2. Canucks peppering the Nashville net with shots to end the second frame, but they'll head off tied at 1.
Well, the power play doing everything they possibly could without scoring. Rebounds there, and Marek Mazanec doing his job as the penalty killer.
Jason Garrison just unloading time after time, but couldn't get it by Mazanec. We'll hear from the Canucks goal scorer Brad Richardson coming up in our second intermission. Don Taylor and Gary Volk as well. They're ahead. It's 1-1 through 40 here in Music City.
Welcome back to Nashville. Canucks are closing out this 4-game road trip. Scoring summaries brought to you by Panago Pizza. Before, during, or after the game, get a fresh Panago. No goals in that first. Predators out shooting the Canucks 8-5 in the second. Brad Richardson opened the scoring at 15:24, his sixth, but just 30 seconds later, the next shift, Colin Wilson tied it up with his 5th of the season.
Canucks will have a few more seconds of power play time to start the third period, and the power play brought to you by Subway. Escape the cold with the new Sriracha Steak Melt. Subway, eat fresh. Power play looked good, John, just nothing to show for it.
That's it. They had lots of chances and hungry for the rebounds and all the things that you want your power play to do. Good, quick puck movement, get lots of shots, and try and beat the goaltender. The goaltender was very good in the Nashville net. And I think it's just the Predators do a nice job, too, on some of the rebounds, taking bodies. Now, you say I'm superstitious?
I do.
How about the old Regina Pat defenseman? He's done this as long as I've known him. The Barry Trotz, he and Garth Butcher were defense partners with the Regina Pats. 2:05, he starts to walk out, and at exactly 2 minutes, guess where he is? Right by the water bottle. Takes the water bottle every time, right at the 2-minute mark. And that's one of his superstitions. I guess if you had to room with Garth Butcher, you would come up with a few idiosyncrasies.
Yeah. Former teammate of yours?
Former roommate of mine, too, so I'm in that same category.
15 seconds of power play time for the Canucks to start the third. A 1-1 tie. 45 shots in the hockey game. 15 of them have come from defensemen. And maybe another one here. Nope, Garrison tried to pass off. That was blocked. Puck cleared. Deflects out to center. Here's Ellis out of the box. Preds back to full strength. Vancouver's 0 for 2 on the power play. Nystrom brings the puck in on the right wing. Puts it in behind the goal. 2 Canucks there. Garrison gets the puck ahead for Higgins. It's past him and down into the Predator zone. Victor Bartley able to beat the heat and get the puck. Now it's thrown onto the right wing. Hornquist moving in on Hamhuis. Drops for Fisher. Quick shot wide. Puck deflects back. Wilson, and that one changed direction and missed the net as well. Now it's put in front and a backhander wide by Wilson. With Luongo trying to scramble across to his left. Puck stayed out, and the Canucks get it out to the Nashville blue line. John Tortorella continuing with David Booth. Skating with the Sedins, and Booth has the puck. Into the middle for Henrik. He picks that puck up deftly, moves in with a backhander, gloved by Mazanec. He hangs on for the whistle, and we check in with Murph.
Guys, this week's on Canucks TV presents All In with Kevin Bieksa. Barry McDonald in conversation with number 3 on life, hockey, his journey, and his future. This Sunday, December 8th on Sportsnet Pacific.
Roberto Luongo again strong on the post. The puck comes out, and Dan Hamhuis there to help him out. Kevin Bieksa. Without Alex Edler, the pairings are mix and match.
Garrison holds the puck in. Daniel Sedin around for Henrik Sedin. Hit by Yossi behind the net. Henrik finds Daniel. Centering pass. Booth couldn't reach it. And Stahlberg comes out with speed. Victor Stahlberg throws on the brakes. Centers the puck. It was intended for the player on the far side, but it hit Seth Jones on the way through. I think that was Bork skating down the left wing. Garrison sends the puck out. Ekholm ahead for Bourque. Richardson breaks that up. The Vancouver goal scorer finds Kevin Bieksa. Dumps the puck ahead to Jannik Hansen. Now to Dale Weiss. Weiss slides the puck in deep for Richardson. Another point for Dale Weiss against Nashville. 6 of his 22 career points have come versus the Predators. Ryan Stanton tried to get that shot through. That was blocked. And the puck is shoveled ahead for Nick Spaulding, but Bieksa takes it away. Spaulding hooked and brings it in front. And Luongo had to stop him on a point-blank chance. Puck centered. Here's Ekholm with a shot. Hit Luongo in the mask. He never saw it. And Stanton's able to clear the zone. Luongo never saw that shot and hit him in the face mask. Still 1-1. Gostad sends one across. Here's another chance. Nystrom bobbled the puck. Gets it again on the left wing. In deep for Paul Gostad. Turning and centering and intercepting is Sestito, but he tried to pass rather than getting the puck out. And another shot attempt is blocked by Chris Tanev. Tanev past Yossi. Here's Kassian. 2-on-1 with Sestito. Zach Kassian centers, and the pass was too hot to handle for Sestito as he was skating in off the left wing. Just over 3 minutes into the third, still 1-1. And out with the puck is Nystrom. Gets over the Vancouver line, shovels one through towards Luongo, who pokes the puck to the corner. Tanev there to pick it up. Pressured by Fisher, and he loses the puck. Tanev works to get it back, and he does. And Christopher Tanev sends it up the boards and out to center. Wristed back in by the Predators, and Luongo cuts it off behind the net for Dan Hamhuis. Hamhuis will wait. Now throw one up the middle. It deflects through on the left wing. Daniel Sedin's in. Booth is in front. Daniel centers to the crease. Went right through. Henrik after the puck on the other side. But it's chipped out by the Predators, and here comes Wilson. Hornquist going to the net. Wilson centers. Hornquist couldn't get a good shot away. Luongo able to stop the dribbling puck, and he covers it for the whistle.
Kevin Bieksa gets leaned on. Spaulding goes to the net. Roberto Luongo with a good save. Point blank. And John, as you said, this one is a flutter ball. Roberto doesn't see it. It's off his shoulder, off the side of his mask, and stays out. Zach Kassian and Tom Sestito, a rare 2-on-1 against these Predators. And Zach Kassian, if he's playing with a little more confidence, he takes that one himself. Instead, he tried the saucer pass, and as you said, too hot to handle for Tom Sestito.
Chris Tanev at his own blue line. Passes ahead to Ryan Kessler. Kessler stood up. Went down. No penalty. He's after the puck behind the goal. He's able to work it in front. Santorelli banging away. Went wide on the short side. Kessler after it again. Along the end boards to Chris Higgins. Bartley's on him. Stahlberg comes back for the puck. Higgins trying to check him. But Victor Stahlberg passes back to Victor Bartley. And the two Victors in concert work the puck to Ryan Ellis, whose lead pass for Legwand is off his stick and deep into the Vancouver zone. Predators work to come up with it again. Shoveled ahead to Higgins, and he turns and skates to center. Higgins feathers one ahead for Santorelli to go after. Mike Santorelli tips one behind the goal and picks up the puck on the far side. Leaves for Higgins, who's bodied. Santorelli holds the puck in. Again, it's taken away by Nashville and sent out to center to Matthias Ekholm, who takes his time before flipping one in wide of the Canuck net. Craig Smith after the puck for Nashville. Pokes it into the corner, gets it himself. Now intercepting is Richardson, and he's able to jam the puck off the boards and out. Forced in by Hansen, who turns in the corner. Banks one back. Bieksa with a drive. That missed the net. Stanton moves down from the left point. Intercepting in the corner is Matt Cullen, who throws one up the middle. And the Predators lucky they got away with that play. They're able to get the puck out, wristed back in. That was Richardson as he was bodied to the ice. Another fast-moving period here. Just past 5.5 minutes in. A 1-1 tie. Smith picks up the puck and moves in on the right wing. Hamhuis takes it away. Passes to Richardson at the end of his shift. He lifts the puck to the Nashville blue line. Daniel Sedin couldn't pick it up. Predators send it back into the Canucks end. Garrison banks it around to Hamhuis as we hit the 6-minute mark of the third period. Daniel Sedin deflects one through right into the glove of the goaltender. Mazanets hangs on, gets the whistle. We'll take a break from Nashville, where the Canucks and the Predators are deadlocked at 1 goal apiece.
Pizza Hut wants to send you and a friend to a Canucks game with their Eat Pizza Win Tickets contest. Every week from December to March, one lucky fan will win a pair of Canucks tickets. Go to pizzahut.ca or call 310-1010 to order and you're automatically entered to win. Pizza Hut, the official pizza of the Vancouver Canucks. Friday night hockey, you don't want to miss this one, John. Connor McDavid and Brendan Gaunce of the Erie Otters take on the Ottawa 67s. 4 o'clock, Sportsnet East in Ontario on Friday.
Big trade in the OHL today. Warren Reichel traded his son. Doug Gilmour traded his son earlier in the year. No family loyalty.
1-1 tie. Canucks and the Predators, third period. Henrik Sedin moves into pressure Seth Jones, who played the angle to allow the puck to get around. Daniel Sedin holds it in. Hamhuis chops it towards the other side. Henrik Sedin is there. In deep for David Booth. Checked by Mike Fisher. Pretty good battle there. Puck winds up on the far side. Josi throws it across to Jones, ahead to Fisher. And he backhands the puck into Vancouver territory before heading to the bench. Hornquist hustles in after it. He's got a teammate in front and couldn't make the pass, as all alone there was Legwand. Now a shot from the line along with a save, and he hangs onto the puck with Hornquist battling in front. And down on the ice is Dan Hamhuis after that fencing session at the side of the Vancouver goal.
Well, Dan Hamhuis played more than 10 minutes in that second period with Alex Edler out. Does a nice job here, boxes out, and then Hornquist digs away at it. Again, Roberto Luongo got the quick whistle.
And that's what the fans were reacting to, the loose puck. Legwand out for the face-off against Brad Richardson, who's won 7 of 9 face-offs, but he loses that one. Canucks, though, able to force the puck out as Higgins got it to center. Now Kessler moves it in on the left wing. Ryan Kessler tried to wrist one through. That was blocked. He dives to keep the puck alive, and Higgins gets it. Chris Higgins makes a move to the corner. Puck taken away. Santorelli fights to get it back. Kessler pokes it in deep for Higgins. Around the net. Higgins out the near side. Couldn't make a play on the net, but Santorelli's in to get the puck in the corner. Santorelli centers, and Higgins couldn't make contact. Garrison with a blast. Who's puck in front? Kessler. They score! Kessler put it on goal. It deflected in off somebody on top of the crease, and the Canucks have taken a 2-1 lead.
Oh, this line has been so good since John Tortorella shuffled it around. Santorelli and Higgins and Kessler controlling the boards, in hard on the forecheck, and going to the net. Chris Higgins tries to bring it out. Control the boards. Mike Santorelli hard on David Legwand. Throws it out. It's to Jason Garrison, the hard shot. Can't be handled by the goaltender, and then Ryan Kessler. I don't know whether that hit Ellis in front or just straight in. I think it did hit Ryan Ellis in front. Chip in try by Ryan Kessler.
Yeah.
It does hit Ryan Ellis and squeaks by.
Right off the right thigh. And Ryan Kessler has another one coming off his 2-goal performance in Carolina. Canucks will try to hang on to the lead longer than the 30 seconds they owned it in the second period, as the Predators pick up the puck in the Vancouver zone and go to work trying to tie the hockey game.
That should be another point for Jason Garrison with that point shot.
7:37, the time of the go-ahead goal for Ryan Kessler. And here's another turnover. And a centering pass by Hansen intended for Weiss that was broken up by Matt Cullen. Cullen brings the puck out and flips it into the Vancouver zone. Kessler with his team-leading 13th goal, giving Vancouver the advantage. Puck dumped in again. Mazenet's out to play it, and he's pretty good out of the net. But this one he got too much on. One linesman said icing, the other one waved it off, and play continues. Garrison can't clear past Fisher. That puck pinballed on its way through to the net. Never got there, and now it's sent to center to Daniel Sedin. He flips one in for David Booth to chase after. Booth takes on Josi behind the net. Roman Josi able to free up the puck for his teammate Hornquist, who slides it ahead to Seth Jones. Jones plays the puck to the corner. Bieksa goes back. He ran into one of the Predators down there, but Henrik Sedin picks up the puck in support, works it to Daniel Sedin, who flips it out. Garrison and Santorelli the assists. And Mike Santorelli has been a tower of strength for the Canucks, playing with multiple line mates in this hockey game. He's back out there now with Kessler and Higgins once more. Kessler trying to intercept at center, but Gostad finds Hendricks. Left side pass. Nystrom with a shot. Oh, the Luongo run over. Penalty. It's got to be a penalty. Luongo bowled over. There was no Canuck around to push the Predator into Luongo. After he made the save on Nystrom.
And here's the save.
Okay,
now,
a little push.
But no attempt to stop on your way in. Right over the goaltender.
I don't think there's going to be a call. Hendricks went into Roberto Luongo. And maybe there is. Referee skating to center. Hendricks appears to be complaining. And there is going to be a penalty to Matt Hendricks. Hamhuis did get a piece of him, what, about 15 feet out?
Yes. And I don't know how you can not call that one.
Ryan Kessler has the go-ahead goal in this hockey game. That means another winner on Score and Win, courtesy Safeway and Kraft salad dressing. From Victoria, Isa James, you've won a Hoover Wind Tunnel multi-cyclonic bagless canister. The goal came at 7:37. Now a penalty at 9:33, and the Canucks have their third power play. Henrik Sedin with a shot, loose puck. Daniel took a swing at it, couldn't make contact. Predators able to play it to the side. And bringing it out shorthanded is Nystrom. Up for Gostad, who was poke checked by Hamhuis, and the puck played back into the Vancouver zone. Fans continue to voice their displeasure as Kessler rushes in. Deeks in on goal and couldn't get a shot away. Now he tries to bank it in. That stayed out. Henrik Sedin hooks the puck to the left point to Dan Hamhuis. Down to Daniel Sedin. Daniel, side of the goal. Kessler on the backhand. Puts one in front. Daniel put it to the side of the net. Now he gets a rebound attempt and put it wide. Daniel checked, and the Predators, Mike Fisher, able to slide the puck down the ice. Third power play in a row for the Canucks. They've out-power played Nashville 3-1. So they best be on their best behavior when this one ends, be it with a goal or with the time expiring. And the Predators helping their cause by sending the puck down the ice once more. .45 seconds to go on the power play. Chris Tanev drives the puck in from center. Higgins gets it back to Kevin Bieksa. Puts it on the forehand. Bieksa fakes the shot. Finds Higgins. He shoots, and that was blocked by the sprawling Eric Nystrom. Nystrom after the puck now. Brings it to center. Takes on three Canucks and banks the puck down into Vancouver territory. 20 seconds left in Vancouver power play. 8:45 remaining in the third. Canucks lead Nashville 2-1. Puck cleared around to the near side. Higgins holds it in. Back to Kevin Bieksa. Bieksa to Higgins. Side of the goal. Santorelli. Bieksa. Slap shot. Partially blocked. Booth turns and tries to get a shot through. That bounces wide. Santorelli's after the loose puck. Penalty's over. Canucks still have the puck. Here's a pass to Bieksa. He shoots. And the goaltender got a piece of that one. Higgins. In for Santorelli. Yossi's on him. Puck slides to the far side. Garrison moves down from the blue line. Predators get it out. Bieksa over to break up the attempted entry, but Predators now play the puck towards the blue line. That hit David Booth. Brought in by Cullen, turning inside the line, and Bieksa able to take the puck away and get it out.
Both Canuck defensemen allowed to change. Good play by Kevin Bieksa with that little flip clearing.
Canucks, 10 of their 28 shots in this game have come on the power play, but they're 0 for 3. Here's Richardson in with a wrist shot, and Ryan Ellis deflects that one out of play for a whistle. 7:38 to go, and Ryan Kessler's given the Canucks a 2-1 lead.
From January 3rd to 6th, you can be a part of the biggest fan road trip of the season. Book your place now to get access to an exclusive pregame coaches talk, alumni meet and greet, private practice, and more. All transportation and accommodation included, along with lower bowl tickets to the Kings and Ducks game. Visit Canucks.com/road trip for more information.
Tomorrow we offer you access to Barclays Premier League action. Couple of games at 11:30 in the morning. Sunderland Chelsea on Sportsnet Pacific, and on Sportsnet World it's West Brom Manchester City. 2-1 Canucks, 7.5 to go in the third period. And David Booth Picks up the puck off the faceoff. Makes a move behind the net. Puck knocked away from him. Daniel Sedin tried to get it to the blue line. Henrik Sedin attempting to hold it in, but brought out by Colin Wilson. Wilson makes a pass in the neutral zone. Yossi sifts his way in. Wilson with a drive. Fought off by Luongo. And the puck cleared to the corner by Hamhuis.
And now Dan Hamhuis felt he was drilled into his goaltender.
Luongo's still down. Net was knocked off. Everybody into it. There is a penalty coming up. And Hamhuis did indeed feel that he was shoved into Luongo, and that's why he reacted the way he did. And there is an Nashville penalty here. I think is that Nystrom?
Dan Hamhuis will probably get a call too.
It's Hornquist heading to the box for Nashville.
And here's what Dan Hamhuis didn't like. And there's Hornquist giving him the shoulder into the goaltender. Now Roberto Luongo's defenseless here, and Hornquist knocks Dan Hamhuis into Roberto Luongo, and Mike Bernstein is now out, making sure Roberto's all right.
Barry Trotz, as we look at Luongo, is not happy with the call, letting his feelings be known. What kind of call is that? Something along those lines. Hamhuis gets 2 as well. It'll be 4-on-4. Or hang on. Is it a double minor to Hornquist? There are 5 Canucks on the ice. It looks like another Vancouver power play. So a double minor to the Predators and a single minor to Dan Hamhuis. .12:42, the time of the latest. And another man advantage for the Canucks. Bieksa to Henrik Sedin. Daniel Sedin in front for Garrison. That's tipped away. And here come the Predators. Gaustad flips one through. Tried to go after it himself. Right to Luongo, who covers the puck. Gaustad tried to jar it free. But Luongo gets the whistle, and we check in with Murph.
Guys, shop and swipe your club card at Safeway today. Watch future Sportsnet telecasts, and you could win a week of unlimited luxury at Dreams Resorts and Spas, courtesy of redtag.ca.
Roberto Luongo and Matt Hendricks had words after that. Hendricks right in Roberto's face, and he's the one who took the last goaltender interference penalty.
Minute 43 to go in the Vancouver power play. The extra 2 being served by Colin Wilson. Bieksa, who replaces Hamhuis on the first unit power play. Kessler moves in. Wrist shot, glove save. Mazanets calmly pulling that one out of midair and getting the whistle with a minute 23 to go in the power play.
Henrik Sedin is going to the box to have his skate done. I don't know whether they'll give him enough time to get it stoned here.
Patty
O'Neill with the quick. And Hendricks back out.
Kessler will take the face-off. And he wins it. Bieksa fakes the shot. Drops to Henrik Sedin. Daniel takes his pass. Daniel, top of the circle, in for Henrik. In front for Daniel. Couldn't get the shot on goal. Garrison dumps the puck around. Yossi cuts it off, and he makes no mistake, wristing it all the way down the ice. Nystrom moving it on Luongo, who hooks the puck over to Kevin Bieksa. Now Hendricks is after Bieksa, providing some good up-ice pressure. Kessler comes back for the puck. Pass to Jason Garrison. Rink wide, Henrik Sedin. 45 seconds to go in the Vancouver power play. Daniel checked by 2 Predators along the boards, and that allows Hendricks to get the puck out. Bieksa knocked him down. Play goes on as Kessler risks the puck in. Henrik Sedin to Daniel Sedin. Daniel centers. Garrison stopped by Mazanets. Kessler, the rebound, scores! Ryan Kessler with another 2-goal game, and the Canucks lead 3-1.
And guess who took the shot?
Jason Garrison?
You got it.
My memory's pretty good.
Yes. And the Canucks power play that has been very, very good in this game cashes in. Shoot around, Henrik to Daniel. Back to Jason Garrison. Ryan Kessler going to the net. The shot blocked but trickles through, and Kessler is able to slide it under. Marek Manazet. I knew I was going to mess his name up.
Mazanets has been strong.
Mazanets has been very good in this game, and yet the Canuck power play, it has deserved to get a goal the way it has played in this game.
It has now scored in 6 straight contests. Kessler had the power play goal against the Hurricanes, one of his 2. He's got the power play goal here, one of his 2, and Ryan Kessler has tallied 4 times in his last couple of outings. Now a centering pass intended for Richardson going to the net. He couldn't get a stick on it, looking for his second goal of the game. Richardson from behind the net comes up front of the backhand, tried to sweep one on goal. That's knocked away. Tanev holds the puck into the right point. Kessler up to 14 goals on the year. His latest coming at 14-15. Canucks scoring on one of their 12 shots on the power play. A little over 5 minutes to go. Here's Higgins trying a one-timer. Couldn't get it through. Tanev holds the puck in the zone. Richardson will try to keep it deep. Kill as much time as he can here. Santorelli to Higgins, in deep for Richardson again. Wilson cuts that off, dumps the puck around. Tanev moves down to hold it in the zone. Comes to Santorelli. Higgins took a swipe at the puck. Richardson did. Now Higgins trying to bank it in, and the goaltender looking behind him. But he has the puck. 3 have beaten him, though, and a happy group of Canucks are leading by a couple.
Canucks hockey on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Subway. Escape the cold with our new Sriracha Steak Melt. Subway. Eat fresh.
3-1 Canucks. Ryan Kessler producing a lot of score and win winners of late. The latest, courtesy Safeway and Kraft salad dressing. From Surrey, Maria Pinero, you've won a Lagostina 10-piece stainless steel cookware set.
And what was the record when Ryan Kessler gets 2 goals? There's only one little blemish on it. I know that. I think it's 10-0-1.
22-0-0-1.
22-0-0-1. I knew there was an O in there.
We got rid of the 4th column a long time ago, but it still existed when Ryan Kessler started his career, you see. Sedin's and Booth trying to hem the Predators in their zone. And now Nashville gets the puck out. Tanev hooks it to Henrik Sedin, but he threw it up the middle blindly, intercepted, and in is Legwand with a shot that deflects wide of the goal. Predators keep after the puck. It's off Daniel Sedin, right to Bork. Blue line feed. Yossi wrists one off the blocker of Luongo. Puck comes to Seth Jones. In for Gabriel Bork. Behind the net, Legwand. Lurking in front is Stallberg. Now he goes after the puck in the corner. Victor Stallberg puts one in front. Tanev intercepts, circles his net, and Christopher Tanev gets the puck off the boards and out. It will not be icing, waved off by Johnny Murray, and the Canucks able to make a full change. Here's Ryan Ellis driving the puck in from center. Bieksa taps it free, intended for Santorelli. Predators get it back. Cullen makes a move to the corner. 3.5 minutes to go. Canucks leading by 2. Smith knocked down by Garrison. Kessler trying to get the puck out. Second attempt, and he gets it by the man of the point, and here come the Canucks 2-on-1. Higgins with Santorelli. Chris Higgins in. He shoots, and a blocker save. Mazanets able to react and stop that one. He keeps it a 2-goal game, but here's a steal by Ryan Kessler. Flips the puck forward, picks it up on the right side. Now turns, trying to put it in front of the backhand. And the Predators take the puck away and get it out. It went out of play and back onto the ice. So the face-off will be in the Nashville zone.
Kessler on the ice here looking for his 3rd goal of the night. If you are thinking about who had the last Canucks hat trick, you have to go back to December 6, 2011. In that one, Daniel Sedin had 3. Against Colorado, Semyon Varlamov was the goaltender in that one.
One of 5 hat tricks for Daniel Sedin. Ryan Kessler has 3.
Probably has 2 more shifts left in this game.
Maybe a shift with an empty net, but they'll be more intent on closing this one out, you would think, than adding to the advantage. Under 3 minutes left, Canucks leading 3-1. And they've done it over the last 40 minutes with only 5 defensemen in the absence of Alex Edler, who did not come out for the second period. Here's Hornquist in on the left wing. Hornquist tried to center. That puck is deflected to the near side. Held into the point. Jones's pass came out, though. The Predators had pulled the goalie. Nystrom had come onto the ice as the 6th attacker, but then an errant pass at the blue line stops play. Let's check out our game summary. It's brought to you by The Brick. Nobody beats The Brick for furniture, mattresses, appliances, and big screen TVs.
Well, Ryan Kessler again. A couple of big goals and a driving force in this one in the power play. You get some power play chances, you want to make them count. They finally did, but it's a momentum thing. Their power play was really good. Could have had a goal on every chance they had.
Don't worry, we know it's 3-1, not 2-1. Canucks leading by 2. Puck goes out of play at the Vancouver bench. After the drop of the puck, that man headed right to the bench, and he'll likely stay there with a face-off coming up in the Vancouver zone with 2:20 to go in the game.
And Ryan Kessler and Mike Santorelli both out there face-off duty on this one.
Timeout call.
Barry Trotz, I would assume.
You got it this time, partner.
Yes. Barry Trotz talked about this morning that his lineup, he doesn't really have a number 1 center. And you go down and there's Matt Cullen, there's Mike Fisher, there's David Legwand. They'd be 3 pretty good number 2 centers. But which one of those guys would you call as a legitimate number 1 center?
Are you asking me, or is it
I
thought it was a rhetorical question.
No, I am asking you because in my opinion, there's not one. They're all good. They'd all be good second guys, maybe even third guys, but not really a number 1 center in the group.
Fisher of the group has had the most ice time, with just over 17 minutes to his credit. And he will take this face-off against Ryan Kessler. I skirted the answer there. Actually, he won't take the face-off. Cullen will against Kessler. Kessler wins it to add to his impressive stat line in this hockey game. Battle for the puck on the near side. Played forward. Santorelli ran into a check as he tried to get the puck out. Kessler able to get it on the far side. Dumps it ahead for Higgins. Couldn't corral it at the Nashville blue line. But the Predators are down to just 2 minutes left and trailing by a couple of goals. Trying to get out of their own zone. Yossi settles the puck, forced back by Higgins. And Yossi circles his net and starts out. Passes ahead. Spalling moves it. Wilson moves it. Now takes position behind the net, hoping the puck can be sent back to him, but Santorelli gets it up. And the Predators have to start from their own end again. Roman Yossi with 1.5 minutes to go. David Booth is out there for Vancouver, along with Kessler and Daniel Sedin. Penalty coming up, I think a high sticking call to Kevin Bieksa as he fought for the puck. And they're going to send Kevin Bieksa to the penalty box with 1:23 to go in regulation.
And you can hear the referee saying, well, you hit him. And it was Matt Cullen. The puck was up in the air, and Kevin Bieksa saying, well, I was trying to play the puck. And he hit Matt Cullen, and he's going to get a high sticking penalty. There's the puck along the boards, and there's the high sticking penalty. Not much doubt about that one. Kelly Sutherland was the referee in the corner and makes the call.
So the Predators with a glimmer of hope here. They've got 1:23 to work with, needing 2 goals. The only advantage for the Canucks here, who are 6 attackers against 4 against, is that they can ice the puck with impunity. Maybe luck out and get one into the empty net. Cam Hughes off the boards, can't get it by Yossi. Predators set up 6-on-4. Legwand across, and Tanev able to knock that one away. Tanev gets the puck out. Kessler's been out there for pretty much the entire final 2.5 minutes, hasn't he, John?
Face-off duties in the own zone, and then have to stay out.
Puck out of play in the corner, and they're going to leave the face-off in the Canucks zone with 56.
Now they're going to talk about it, and they're going to bring it out. Chris Tanev, a good smart play. First thing you do, as soon as it goes out of play, point outside the blue line, and that's what he did. Patrick Hornquist now talking to the linesman about it.
Predators' chances just grew slimmer. 56.1 on the clock. Bieksa in the penalty box. Hughes and Tanev on the ice on defense. Richardson and Santorelli, the 2 forwards. Richardson wins the draw. Hamhuis can have a crack at the net, and he just missed. No icing, however, and Jones is back for the puck. Hornqvist. Cross corner dump. Tanev. Blocked by Fisher. Another chance for Tanev. He goes up the boards. Held in by Jones, but now chopped out by Tanev, who got it out on the third try. Josi hammers the puck back in. 30 seconds to go. Tanev after the loose puck. Fisher missed it behind the net. Hamhuis. And now swinging at it and missing is Richardson. So it stays in the Vancouver zone. Leg one. In deep. Gets a return pass. Missed it. Here's Richardson skating to center with an empty net. His shot attempt went off Josi's skate. Predators get the puck back under 10 seconds remaining. Josi brings it in. Takes a look across, fires left point. There's a shot, stopped by Luongo. Leg one on the rebound, stopped by Luongo, and the horn sounds. The Vancouver Canucks get 2 goals from Ryan Kesler in the third period. They get a 30-save effort from Roberto Luongo, and they go 3-1 on a 4-game road trip with a 3-1 triumph here in Nashville.
Roberto Luongo was really good in this one. Remember that save in the first period on the bang-bang right front on Smith when he was left wide open.